The sky above the planet Velmari was no longer blue. It burned with fire and smoke. Giant enemy ships floated above the cities, raining down beams of destruction. The people of Velmari, tall, thin, and peaceful beings with smooth silver skin, ran through the streets, crying out, but their voices were small. Their technology was weak, and their hopes were fading fast. The attackers were called the Drokari, a war-loving species known for their cruelty. They conquered planets one by one, using strength and fear. Now, they had come for Velmari, and there was no one to stop them. Inside a crystal tower, deep in the capital city of Thaler, the Velmari High Council gathered. The room shook as explosions echoed outside. "We cannot fight them," whispered Elder Mirren, the oldest of the council. Her voice was calm, but her eyes showed sadness. "Our defenses are gone. Our people are dying." Counselor Aaron stood up. "We must send a call," he said. "One last message. Maybe someone will hear." Elder Mirren slowly nodded. "Yes, the ancient relay still exists. It is old, but it can send signals far beyond this galaxy." A young technician activated the glowing console. "What should we say?" she asked. Mirren took a breath. Then she spoke, slowly and clearly. "To any who hear this, we are the Velmari. We are under attack by the Drokari. We are peaceful. We do not wish for war. But we are dying. If you hear us, please help, please." The signal was sent. It traveled through light, time, and space. It passed dead stars and sleeping worlds. It echoed through forgotten channels. The council waited outside. The sky grew darker far across the galaxy. In a part of space where no ships dared to go, the signal reached a hidden relay station. It was old and covered in space dust, floating in silence, but the machine inside still worked. It blinked. It listened. Then it answered. Back on Velmari, hours passed. Fires burned. Hope grew cold. Then the signal came. A reply. It was short, just 4 words. "Signal received. Stand by." The technician gasped. Someone answered. Aaron stepped forward. "Where did it come from?" She checked the reading. Her face turned pale. It came from the Terrans. Everyone went silent. The name was almost forgotten. Terrans, the lost species, the humans long ago. The Terrans had been part of the Galactic Council. Strong, fast, clever. But after a terrible war, they had vanished. No one knew where Earth was anymore. Some said the humans had destroyed themselves. Others said they had gone into hiding. Now, a message had come from them. "Do you think they will help?" asked Aaron. Mirren's voice was soft. "We don't know, but they heard us, and that means something." The Drokari general sat in his command ship, laughing. "These soft creatures send signals into space like children throwing stones into the wind." He said to his officers, "They think someone will save them, but no one is coming." Suddenly, alarms rang across the ship. "New ships detected," shouted a Drokari officer, coming out of fold space fast. "How many?" the general asked. The officer checked again. His eyes widened. "Only 6, but they are massive." On the screens, 6 dark ships appeared. They made no sound. They had no flags, no markings. They moved like shadows, fast and smooth. One of them slowly turned to face the Drokari fleet. The general narrowed his eyes. "Who dares interfere?" Then a message came, across all frequencies. A voice, calm, strong. "You called. We're here." The Drokari officers looked at each other. For the first time, they felt uneasy. The general growled, "Identify them." The screen flickered. Then a symbol appeared, an ancient mark, a forgotten logo. A human hand holding a broken chain. The Drokari gasped. "Terrans." Far below, the people of Velmari looked up. The fire in the sky had stopped. The enemy ships had paused. And new shapes floated above them, dark and silent, watching. The people stared. Elder Mirren whispered. They came. Children pointed. Adults cried. The most feared species in the galaxy had answered the call. The sky above Velmari was quiet now. The Drokari ships no longer fired. They hovered in place. Unsure, their weapons were ready, but they didn't move. They were watching the 6 dark ships that had appeared like shadows from the void, the Velmari. People stood outside their homes, schools, and towers, looking up in silence. They didn't know what was happening, but they felt that something had changed. Hope, once lost, had returned. Something powerful had come. In the High Council Tower, the leaders watched the sky with wide eyes. "They're not firing, Counselor," Aaron whispered. "They don't have to," said Elder Mirren. "Their presence alone is enough." The dark ships moved slowly, like predators circling prey. They didn't speak again. They didn't boast or threaten. They simply existed. And that was more frightening to the Drokari than any weapon. On board one of the human ships, called Vigilance, Captain Eleanor Reyes stood at the command platform. Her dark uniform had no rank marks. Her face was calm, her eyes sharp. "Report," she said. A young officer answered. "Velmari City Center still burning. Civilian survivors confirmed. Drokari fleet frozen in place. They're scanning us constantly." "Let them scan," Reyes replied. "They won't understand what they see." She turned to her second in command. "Begin ground ops. Save who we can. Quietly. No speeches." The humans worked like machines, fast, silent, and exact, on Velmari's surface. Black human dropships touched down near the ruined capital. Hatches opened, and soldiers stepped out tall, armored in smooth gray plates, with glowing visors. They didn't speak much. They helped carry the injured. They handed out clean water and warm packs. They repaired broken shelters using strange tools that made no sound. The Velmari watched in wonder. One child, a young boy with glowing blue eyes, walked up to a soldier and touched his arm. "Are you real?" he asked. The soldier knelt and removed his helmet. He was human, with brown skin and soft eyes. "We're real," he said gently, "and we're here to help." The boy smiled. "My grandmother said humans were gone." The soldier smiled back. "Not gone, just waiting." Above the planet, the Drokari general was growing angry. "They only sent 6 ships," he shouted. "6? We have 100. His officers said nothing. "They are ghosts, stories." The humans vanished long ago. Then a second message came. From the dark ships. Just 3 words: leave or fall. It wasn't loud. It wasn't shouted. But it carried weight like a mountain pressing down. The general's hand hovered over the attack button. He hesitated. Something felt wrong. He turned to his sensor officer. "What do you see?" The officer looked pale. "Their ships are not using normal engines. No power signature. No energy spikes. It's like they're bending space around them. Impossible." But deep down, even the general knew Terrans were never normal. Back on the ground, Captain Reyes walked through the broken streets of Thaler with a small team. She moved quietly, speaking with the Velmari leaders. She gave no promises, only calm directions. One young Velmari healer, Lyra, asked her, "Why did you come?" Reyes looked at the burning horizon, then back at the healer. "You asked for help," she said. Lyra's voice trembled, but no one else answered. Reyes paused. "A long time ago. We made mistakes. We hurt the galaxy. So we left. We stayed silent. But not anymore." She placed a small beacon on the ground. It lit up with soft white light. "Where people cry for help, we go. Quietly, quickly. And we don't stop until the threat is gone." Lyra stared at the beacon. "Is Earth still real?" Reyes gave a small smile. "More real than ever, but not ready to be found." In orbit, the Drokari fleet finally made a move. They powered up weapons. The human ships didn't react. The Drokari launched a test missile. The moment it moved, the nearest human ship lit up. A strange ripple appeared around it, like a wave in space. The missile vanished, simply disappeared. No explosion. No noise. Then, in perfect formation, the 6 human ships moved forward. They didn't fire yet, but every Drokari system began to shut down: radar, comms, engines. The Drokari general screamed, "Retreat! Retreat now!" But it was too late. One human ship turned slightly. A silent beam of white light passed through 3 Drokari warships. The ship stopped moving and slowly fell apart like dust. The rest of the Drokari fled into hyperspace, broken and terrified. The Velmari people cheered. Survivors hugged each other. The sky was clear again. Captain Reyes stood at the edge of the city, looking up. She tapped. Her communicator, Captain to Fleet, mission complete, begin healing phase. Her officer replied. Understood. And the Velmari, they're under our watch now, she said softly. No more crying alone in the dark, and high above. In silent orbit, the ships of Earth stood guard once more. The city of Thaler was quiet now. Smoke still rose from broken towers. But the sound of battle was gone. The streets were filled with Velmari survivors, some walking slowly, others sitting on the ground, tired and wounded. But there was peace. Again, and standing in the middle of it all were the humans. They didn't speak much. They moved with calm and purpose. Their armor was smooth and dark, with glowing lights on their chests and helmets. They carried no flags. They gave no speeches. But everywhere they went, people felt safer. Children followed them, eyes wide with wonder. Old Velmari elders touched their sleeves and whispered thanks. And the humans simply nodded and kept working, repairing shelters, clearing rubble, and giving food and water to anyone in need. Captain Reyes stood on the edge of the city, looking out at the wide plains beyond. With her helmet off, the wind brushed her short black hair. Her eyes were sharp and tired. A message blinked on her wrist screen. Status report. Civilians rescued. 91. 0+ enemy forces. Retreat confirmed. Drokari reinforcements. Possiblesh. Turned to her second in command, Commander Shaw. How's the line? Shaw replied. Strong. Our soldiers have formed a full perimeter. We're ready if the Drokari try anything. Reyes nodded. They'll come again. They always do. But this time, we hold. The line was a human defense wall made of shield generators and mobile turrets. It wasn't large, but it was perfect. The machines moved on their own, adjusting position without command. A few soldiers stood behind them, silent and alert. Velmari warriors, few and untrained, stood beside them. They had never seen such order. The humans didn't shout. They didn't brag. They simply watched. A young Velmari named Ren stood next to a tall human soldier. Ren held a small plasma rifle with shaking hands. You don't look scared, Ren said. The human looked at him, voice calm behind his helmet. Fear doesn't stop us. It just reminds us what's at stake. Ren looked ahead. The Drokari are monsters. No one has beaten them. The human's voice stayed even. We're not here to beat them. We're here to end this. High above, the human fleet remained in orbit, silent and still, but watching everything. Other species had begun listening too. Ships from distant star systems tuned into Velmari. Space to watch the events, and what they saw changed everything. One by one, alien leaders began whispering the same words. The Terrans are back, in the Drokari command ship. Far from Velmari, the warlords argued. We cannot allow this. One shouted. The humans humiliated us. Another growled. They came with only 6 ships. 6, and they broke our lines. An older warlord slammed his hand on the table. These are not the same Terrans from the old wars. These ones are quiet, controlled. That makes them more dangerous. A moment of silence passed. Then, the leader spoke. Send reinforcements. Crush them before they rise again. On Velmari, Reyes received the message. New Drokari ships entering nearby systems, Shaw reported. How many? Over to 100. Closing fast. Reyes tapped her earpiece. This is Captain Reyes. All ground teams prepare. The Drokari are returning. The humans didn't panic. They moved like clockwork. They reinforced the line, activated stronger shields, and placed defense drones in the sky. The Velmari watched in amazement. You're not running? Ren asked one soldier. The soldier smiled beneath his helmet. We don't run. We draw the line. The second wave of Drokari came fast and hard. Their ships roared into orbit, firing before they even arrived. Explosions lit up the sky. But the human shields held out. When Drokari dropships reached the ground, they met the human wall. The battle was shorthand, one-sided. Human weapons were precise. Their armor didn't crack. Their drones moved like ghosts, targeting engines, weapons, and weak spots with perfect timing. Velmari citizens watched the skies glow with strange human energy white-blue beams, silent missiles, and shimmering fields that stopped fire in midair. By the time the sun rose, the Drokari had lost half their fleet. The rest ran again. Captain Reyes stood in the middle of the battlefield. Her armor was scorched, her boots covered in dust. The Velmari gathered around her. Elder Mirren stepped forward. "You didn't just save us," she said. "You showed us something we thought was gone." Reyes tilted her head. "What's that?" Hope, Reyes looked up at the morning sky. "This is just the beginning. Others will call out. We'll be there too." Mirren smiled. "Is it true what they say? That no one knows where Earth is anymore?" Reyes gave a soft laugh. "It's true. We hit it long ago." "Why?" Reyes looked back at the Velmari. "So we could build in silence and return when the galaxy needed." U.S. most. The calm above Velmari was about to end. Captain Eleanor Reyes stood on the bridge of the Arc-class dreadnought, the largest ship in the human fleet. The ship was massive, longer than many cities, dark and sleek, with glowing lines that pulsed softly like a heartbeat. It hung in orbit like a silent giant, watching. Her voice was steady as she spoke into the communicator. "All units, prepare for battle. Drokari reinforcements are entering Velmari space. We will stop them here." Around her, the crew worked without a sound. Machines hummed, weapons charged, shields flickered. Outside, the stars were full of enemy ships. Hundreds of Drokari war vessels rushing like a storm. The first waves hit the human shields with terrible force. Beams of energy and missiles crashed against invisible walls. The shields bent but held firm. Inside the Ark, Captain Reyes stood calm. "Fire at will," she ordered. The human ships responded immediately. Fighters launched in swarms, small and fast, darting through the enemy lines like lightning. They carried special weapons, silent, precise, and deadly. The Drokari tried to fight back. Their big warships opened heavy fire. But the humans' tactics were new and strange. Their fighters disappeared and reappeared. Their beams cut through enemy armor like knives through cloth. The battle stretched across the stars. On the surface of Velmari, the people watched the sky light up with war. They saw strange flashes and pulses of energy unlike anything they had ever known. The humans did not panic. They stood firm, helping each other and rebuilding what was broken. In the city, Elder Mirren met with Captain Reyes. "Your ships, they are unlike anything I have ever seen. How do you make such power?" Reyes smiled slightly. "Our technology is built on years of study and secret work. We learned to use gravity itself, bending it, shaping it to make weapons and shields." Mirren nodded slowly. "So, your strength is not just in numbers, but in understanding the universe." Reyes answered, "Exactly. That's why we never wanted to fight alone. We wait for the right moment. And now, that moment is here." Back in space, the battle turned fiercer. The Drokari flagship, a huge beast covered in spikes and glowing red engines, came forward. It fired a massive blast toward the Arc-class dreadnought. The human ship's shields shook violently. Captain Reyes knew the moment had come. "Prepare the gravity cannon," she said. The crew moved fast. The gravity cannon was a weapon unlike any other. Instead of fire or missiles, it used controlled collapse like a small black hole to crush enemies. The cannon charged slowly, pulling energy from the stars themselves. The Drokari flagship fired again, but the human shields held just long enough. Then the Arc fired. A white-blue beam exploded from the cannon, stretching across the void. It hit the Drokari flagship full in the center. The enemy ship trembled, then cracked. It began to collapse inward, falling in on itself like paper. In minutes, it was gone, destroyed without a sound. The Drokari fleet faltered. Their ships slowed and turned away. Captain Reyes did not stop. "Pursue and disable all fleeing vessels," she commanded. Human fighters chased the enemy, disabling engines and weapons. No ship escaped. After the battle, the galaxy watched in shock. The news spread fast. The Terrans have returned with power beyond imagination. Other species sent diplomats and watchers to Velmari. They wanted to see the humans, to learn. Captain Rhea stood on Velmari's ground, watching the stars. She spoke to Elder Mirren. We came for help. But now, we must help more. Mirren smiled. You have returned hope. Reyes looked at the dark sky. The galaxy will hear our message loud and clear. We stand for those who cannot fight. We protect the weak, and we never forget the cost of war. The stars shone quietly. But across the galaxy, something new was born. A promise, a warning. The Terrans were back, and they were ready to change everything. The galaxy was changing. The echoes of battle had faded. But the memory of human power lingered like a quiet storm on Velmari. The people rebuilt their homes with help from the humans. The scars of war were deep, but hope was stronger. Captain Eleanor Reyes walked through the city streets, surrounded by Velmari children and adults alike. The humans worked side by side with the Velmari, repairing buildings, planting new gardens, and teaching the young about science and peace. A small Velmari girl tugged at Reyes' sleeve. Will you stay? She asked, her big blue eyes full of hope. Reyes smiled softly. We will stay as long as you need. In the rebuilt council chamber, Elder Mirren spoke at a gathering that included humans and Velmari. We owe our lives to the Terrans, she said. They came when no one else would. They fought when others fled. Now, a new chapter begins. Captain Reyes stood quietly nearby. When it was her turn to speak, she stepped forward. We did not come as conquerors, she said. We came because we believe in something simple, that all life deserves a chance to live free and safe. She looked around the room. Our fight is not over. The Drokari will try again, but we will be ready. This is our promise. Far beyond Velmari, the Galactic Assembly had been watching. Once proud and confident, many leaders now looked uneasy. The humans thought Lost had returned not with anger, but with power and mercy. At a secret meeting, ambassadors whispered, how did they become so strong? Where did Earth go? No one had answers. Captain Reyes sat in a quiet room aboard the Arch-Dreadnought. Her eyes stared at a star map. She thought about Earth, the place where humans had once lived in peace, then war, then silence. Earth is hidden, she said to herself, but not forgotten. Her second-in-command entered. The Velmari are grateful. They want to join us in defense. Reyes nodded. Good. They are strong. Their knowledge of telepathy will help. She stood and looked out at the stars. We will build a new fleet, one that protects, not destroys. News spread quickly. Across the galaxy, new alliances formed. More worlds sent messages of friendship and support. The legend of the Terrans grew not as warriors only, but as guardians. On Velmari, the first children born after the war played in the sunshine. Reyes watched them, thinking about the future. A new era was beginning, one where humans would no longer hide. They would stand with others, ready to face any threat. A quiet voice inside her whispered, we will never forget those who called for help. And the galaxy heard it too.